Hello, folks. 12:04, May the 21st, or the 21st, as Victor Borge used to say. I get to watching some of his stuff lately. I don't know how many of you remember him. He was a Swedish piano player who was a comedian too, funny man. Anywho, Mother Nature came skinning by here again tonight. Of course, now the damage was up in Oklahoma. Before I went to bed, it was Dallas today before I took my nap, I was watching the news, and boy, Oklahoma City got smeared. A couple of schools up there. One particular school didn't look like a school. I mean, it just looked like a junkyard with stuff scattered around. And there were kids in there, and at the time I went to bed, they weren't talking about any fatalities in that school. I cannot imagine how. I mean, there was nothing left of it. They were shooting down from with a camera from above, and it was like a junkyard with little lines in it where the walls used to be, and it was a cement block school. But they said that they were dragging kids out of there alive. Kids were walking out. I can't imagine. I mean, they weren't underground. The thing didn't have a cellar. It was ground level. Whew, I just woke up. Anyway, bless them if they. I haven't turned the news on since I got up, so I'm not aware of what the update on it. But as of say 5:30 this evening, they were doing pretty well. They were getting kids out alive. Talked to my youngest son last night for about an hour, and it seems solid that he is going to go to Siegel North with us. In fact, we're within, let's see, 21st. That would leave, we'll say 10 days to about 3 weeks. A little over 3 weeks, and we'll be on the road again to Siegel North. Itinerary is we leave here on the 15th. I have to dialysize in Nashville, Tennessee. Then I have to dialysize in Columbus, Ohio. And then we'll arrive. But routine when Tiana and I do it. I almost had a Freudian slip there. When Tiana and I do it is about a week. This bloody chairs. My Chin Chow Chu chairs. Now it's quiet. Anyway, it takes about a week, and we arrive there. And I'm looking forward to it, particularly since the weather turned off. Actually, here in our house, the weather hadn't been too bad. Just nice little showers, a little thunder, lightning, everything cool. Boy, around us, tearing people up, killing people, mowing whole neighborhoods down. We've been very lucky. My gracious, excuse me. Usually out here in the prairie where we're at, we get our share. Almost every year I go out on the back porch and look out across that prairie, and I'll see a funnel cloud hanging down, going across, tears things up. I remember one year, and that's been about, I guess it's been 8-9 years ago. It blew my tower. I've got a radio tower out here. It's 54 feet with an antenna on top of it. Total height up to the top of the antenna is probably, I think, 75 feet. It twice in one season, that thing was scattered over. It used to be Margaret. Behind us, she's dead now, but it took that thing and scattered it all over Margaret's field over there. And I was very fortunate in that I was able to salvage my tower. Didn't actually break my tower, just snapped it off at the bottom. So I had the wells that hold it to the ground snapped, and that was the best thing could have happened, because then it just laid down flat instead of having to go out and buy another $2,000 or $3,000 worth of tower. I'd just stand it back up. I was lucky. But anyway, I've had visions of that happening this year. The weather has really turned off violent, and seems like every third or fourth day, man, they got a dry line coming through with supercells, and oh boy. Anyway, tonight's over. I looked at the radar, and all the bad stuff is up in Arkansas. Stuff that was in Oklahoma, it's over in Arkansas. There's a little dab of a storm off to the south of it, doesn't amount to a hill of beans. I expect it'll come through in a little while. Politics. I hate to say it, but my man's got himself a real pile of trouble. You probably observed that I haven't had much to say about it, because I cannot deny that some of the things that are coming down to me are pretty damning. The thing in where is it over there, Libya? Shoot, Benghazi. Yeah, the thing in Benghazi is I don't know who's responsible for that. It appears that somebody, either by oversight or intent or whatever, allowed those people to be killed when maybe they didn't need to be killed. Nobody ever needs to be killed, but my premise is that they might have handled it better, and those people now still be alive. And of course, the Republicans are going to try to nail it straight on Obama. I listen to them all day, every day, and they're just going on. The tax thing about the teabaggers, I hate to say it, but I'm a Democrat, left winger, and I have felt for years that the Republicans and those right wing guys have been getting away with murder by calling your organizations social welfare organizations and all this stuff. And evidently, before the election, when Obama in his first term, and these guys were gearing up to, bring in the money and set up the organization to, do him in, somebody, either in the IRS or in the government, said these guys put in an application for a tax-free organization because they're supposed to be social welfare. You sandbag them, back them up, whatever it is. Examine their records, find out where their money's coming from. I'm for that. I think somebody needs to do that. I think Karl Rove and all that mess have been bending the rules, breaking the law, behind the scenes for years and years. But it appears that in doing this, the IRS, President Obama, his administration, people under him, evidently there were rules that they were supposed to follow, and they bent their rules. And I guess two wrongs do not make a right. So I guess I'll just have to wait and see how this comes out. I hope that he survives it. Today, for the first time on television and on my computer, I'm seeing organizations setting up to impeach him. Oh boy, they're just going after him. They don't say impeach the black so-and-so, but that's what it's about. Anyway, I guess we'll see. it's a mess. I don't think it's gonna. I don't believe that it's gonna be long term. A year from now, I don't believe we'll be talking about it. I hope not. I think that he's smart enough that he will. He'll handle this. He's already, I don't want to say fired, asked for the resignation. The head man in the IRS. Good show. That's all you can do. You got to cut your losses and go on. And I'm sure he probably called him on the phone and said, "Hey, look, we'll make your life, make the rest of your life real livable, but you're gonna have to take the fall." Click, and the guy resigned. That's all you can do. And you discover that somebody down the line has broke the law or bent the rules, you get rid of them. And of course, they won't be happy until they track it back to him. Anyway, story. Let's see. What have I got here? I've been telling stories, and I've been making a list of what my stories are. So I've got one here. I'll tell you what. I was a biker. I've told you that I was a biker. Well, everybody should do like I did. My first two-wheel vehicle was a 150 Lambretta scooter. When I rode that for a couple of years. Bzzz, a little Hummer, do about 30 miles an hour. We had a good day. I remember he used to ride along. And if you rode it hard on a hot day, the piston would seize. You'd pull over to the side of the road, sit there a while, free up, crank up, ride some more. Okay, from the 150 Lambretta, I graduated up to a 175 Bridgestone, two-stroke. Now, you've all heard of Bridgestone tires. Well, they used to make motorcycles years ago. And boy, I tell you what, it was a fine little bike. I mean, that thing would run. I had a friend, Morris Rogers, who lived next door to me. He had a 350 Honda. And that Bridgestone would just dusting. I mean, standing start to 90 miles an hour. Both, I think, his do about 100. Mine don't do about 90. Mine do 90 with two people on it. Got 55 miles to the gallon. Good little bike. Rode that I had that one in my first marriage. It was a 68 model, and I think I rode that. And Pat divorced me in 78. I guess I had that thing 10 years. My first wife discovered no fault divorce and divorced me and put me out in the street. And in due course, I had kind of recovered my bearings, and I got my financial stuff kind of half back together. I mean, she really destroyed us monetarily. Took the house, took the kids, took the car and mobile home and all that. She took everything. It was just me and my hide. But anyway, a few months, I got things to go on, maybe a busy year. Remember, I went into, what do you call it? Counseling. I had thoughts of doing it, divorces are rough. Well, anyway, after about a year, I went and got me a 400 Kawasaki. Nice little bike. Little vertical twin Hummer. I rode that thing to New York to see my dad. I rode it to Northern California from here in Texas. Try to drive a 400 vertical twin Kawasaki to Oroville, California. remember I had my second wife with me, and I had gotten used to it. We used to have a thing we called numb butt. What that was the vibration of the thing would just make your behind side just butt like anything else. You get used to it, you're fine, you know. And I had remarried, and I decided, my mother lived in Oroville, California, and I decided to go out and see her, and I asked, wife, would you like to go along? Yeah, that'd be great, okay. So I get her on this 400, and we're out there. Well, by the time we got to El Paso, she had a terminal case of numb butt. I can remember that I stopped out there. We used to carry beanie weenies. It's traveling food, you know. It's a little pop open can of pork and beans with chopped up hot dogs in it, called beanie weenies. Anyway, sitting on the curb in front of Howard Johnson's out there in El Paso, eating my beanie weenies, and she is kicking dirt on me. Ooh, yeah. And the reason she's kicking dirt on me, because her hindside was lit up so bad. I mean, she could hardly walk. She says, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. I said, well, you know, I'm going to see Mom. You want to go, get on. If you don't, I'll give you a bus ticket back home. I said, a couple days, that old Gluteus Maximus will be used to it, and you won't even notice it anymore. So she got back on, and as I told her, in a couple of days, we was out there in Arizona someplace, you know, humming along, but didn't notice it anymore. Everything was fine. Anyway, had that 400 I had that up until I married Tiana. When I first married Tiana, I still had it. I had 2 motorcycles at that time. Anyway, you notice I'm getting up in CCs. None of my bikes to now had really what's called fast. I mean, quick. The little Bridgestone was, was zippy. The 400 was all right. But one day I'm riding down Abrams Street in Arlington, and out there is a Honda 750 with no front fender on it, the CB 750. Got no front fender on it. $300, as I remember, $400. Had what they call Jardine headers on it. They were aftermarket headers instead of if you remember the old 750s, they had 4 pipes on them. Came out and flared up the rear side to the fenders. Well, whoever had this one before had put these aftermarket Jardine headers on it, and they just came down and went straight back like on a Harley, and just kind of flared to the side, and they had left the baffles in. I thought that was neat. I've never been a big noise freak. You know, these guys get on these motorcycles and, they won't be shaking garage doors and windows as they go down the street, rum. That drives me nuts, but that guy hadn't done it. Whoever had it before me. So I went in and bought the 750. This sucker was quick. I had never been on anything that remotely approached it. Of course, let's see, I was 30, 39, 40, still invincible. Boy, I mean, I enjoyed the quickness of that thing. I mean, I was drag racing everything in sight, and it would run. Because it wasn't really street stock. It had the aftermarket headers on it. I think it had aftermarket carburetors. But whoever done it had done a very nice job. I mean, it wasn't ratted out to where it wasn't comfortably streetable, But this puppy would run. So, I had already met Tiana. We weren't married, but I had met her. And I remember there's a road runs north and south, almost dead in the center of the metroplex, called 360. And way back when, 360 was a 2-lane road. And they went to making it a 4-lane. I think it's a 6-lane now. Of course, the metroplex has changed dramatically. But anyway, in the process of making this thing a 4-lane, they went in and they put in the access roads all the way down. And then they would put in a mile or two of the 4-lane, and then you'd go back on the access road, and you'd have to stop at the lights on the access road and whatnot, And I'm coming south on 360 with my hot rod, and we're doing the swing over out the access road, go along, stop at the light, go down the ways, get back up on the main boulevard, go for another mile or so, and then it would take us off, and then we'd run down the access road for a couple of miles. And I got in behind this semi, which of course is blocking my view, keeping me back. It wasn't letting me, it was impeding my progress. So we got south of the middle of Arlington, and I-20 down there. For you folks locally here, they know where I-20 is. I-20 was already in, and they were making the interchange down there for I-20. And I'm in behind this semi, and I knew, I couldn't see. I could scoot over, and all I could see was, just the access road going down. I wanted to go behind me, and he pulled me up. And I knew that when we got down a little ways, that the new construction that went back out onto the big road flared out down there. And when I got to there, boy, I was going to drop a couple of gears. I'd just hook in beside him and bang, shoot by him, Well, I'm sitting there, boy, I'm anticipating this. Come on, I'm ready, vroom, vroom, vroom. So we finally get down, and I see the pavement spreading out to my left, Boy, I jump a couple of gears, and I come zipping out behind him, and man, I am on it. I'm probably doing 6-8 grand immediately. And I get about a quarter of the way up on that doggone trailer, passing him, and all of a sudden I look ahead of me, and there is no road over there. There's a curb right ahead of me. I'm probably doing 85 by this time, and I'm going straight at a curb. So high. Well, I'm going to die. Of course, I let off the gas immediately, and I'm up on the pegs, and I'm pulling up on the handlebars, And the front wheel, due to the fact that I had, I was probably, the center of gravity wise, I was getting the front end light. The front wheel went up, and the back wheel hit that curb so hard that it bent the rim. Now I'm airborne, way up in the air. This thing, bingo! And I'm so airborne that as I go by the cab of the truck, me and the guy driving the truck are looking eye to eye, and I hear the brakes on the truck going, because he knows that, I'm going to splatter something awful when I come down. Beyond this curb was a median. It was about, it was probably, I say it was this way, it was probably this wide. But when you're doing 80 miles an hour airborne, this thing looked like a string in front of me. Of course, one of the things that happened was I hit that curb hard enough that the bike stopped. That bike had what they call an inline fuse underneath the seat, and when that back wheel hit that curb, there was such a shock, it knocked that fuse out of its holdings, and I'm doing a dead stick landing here. And I came down on that curb. If any of you have ever ridden a bike, you know about high-speed wobble. Man, that thing is just wobbling around, and I got it stopped. I did. I don't know to this day how I got that thing stopped upright. Motor's out of bed. The motor is dead. The rear wheel is bent, and the truck, he slowed down. We both arrived at the same spot about the same time. He's over here beside me, and once he established that I was going to live through it, he just went on. But I can remember that I stopped the bike, put the kickstand down. I've got my little private median there, cars going by, and I'm sitting down going, I should have died. I should have died. And I remember I called Tiana on the phone. I said, you ain't gonna believe what I did and survived. So anyway, if you ever buy yourself a really, for you, a quantum leap forward in speed, show a little discretion. Show a little reserve, because you can kill yourself. I didn't die because I'm here talking to you. But I should have, because I can still remember when I was up there. I must have been 7, 8 feet in the air. I hit that curb, and it just, the fork sank down in a recoil and just popped me up in the air. And I can still remember going up there, standing on those pegs, looking at that guy in that cab as I went by him. And anyway, that's it. Story told. I survived. I was the closest in my biking years. That was really and I had some other. I put down very little skin on the pavement. I was usually very reserved, except of course, like when I got that bike, I just went freaking wild because I loved the speed. Anyway, can't think of another blessed thing. I was talking to the son. He's coming. I'm going to. I was going to save this, but I'm going to tell about it. Remember, I worked at the post office in Arlington, Texas. And one of the things that when you work at a post office, you run into people with funny names. I mean, you wonder sometimes when a daddy or a mommy, well, not a mommy, she's usually in the room, the hospital room, recovering from the delivery, but the daddy's looking through the window into the bassinet, and he says, I know, I'll call him this. And you wonder, how do they arrive at them names? Well, here's one for you. Worked there at the post office in Arlington. And of course we had like 3,000, I think that's an exaggeration, about 1,600 mailboxes at that time in the main post office down there. And of course, after a fashion, you're fairly familiar with everybody that was in there, all the names in the various boxes. I had one. Well, there was a lawyer there in Arlington. He had a mailbox. I can't imagine a lawyer. Now, this lawyer's name was Richard Dangle. You feature that? Dangle Sr. is looking in the bassinet. He says, I know what I'll call him. I'll call him Dick. Anyway, Richard used to come to my window on occasion, and I couldn't resist it. I filling out something one day, and he's standing over across the way, and I'm looking down at this, and I said, say, they ever give you any trouble about that name there, Dick? He never came back to my window again. I don't know. I have to assume that, he caught that all the time. But Dick Dangle. Can you imagine being in a courtroom? Mr. Dangle. I don't know. I think I had my name changed. Anyway, I'll have some more of those. But he was the best. Richard Dangle. Anywho, I've probably carried on long enough. I hope my president, I voted for him. I don't want him to be a crook. These guys are just going completely bonkers. He's not doing everything I want him to do. He wants to cut back on Social Security. Hey, I'm on Social Security. I've been on Social Security for almost 10 years now. No, that's not right. 74. Yeah, almost. A few months it'll be 10 years. But what he wants to do would be better than what the Republicans want to do. They want to essentially cut it out. You know, make it be something else. I don't know. Put all your money in the stock market. Boy, would you like to have it all in there in '08 when everything went kaput. Wouldn't that have been good? You know, your IRA and all that. Whoop. Of course, it's come back up. But I still don't want it in there because the stock market is cyclical. I mean, zing, zing, zing. If I lived long enough, you know, I'd have to live through another one of those dives. So I don't want that to happen. That's what the Republicans want to have happen. Anywho, hi to my kids. Let me see here. One minute here. Yeah. Hi to Brian, Crystal, my sons Kyle and Carl. Kyle, I can't hardly wait. It's going to be good. Tracy, top of the day to you. Mr. Heitzenrager, I see that you are in, what is that, classmates or whatever it was. Sent me I don't know, saw your picture there. Ike, hope all's well with you. Glenn, Daryl Mackey, Tyler, Jim Kersey. Looking forward to seeing you. Jim says he's coming up to visit me up there at Siegel North. Whoopee! Anyway, I'll do her again next week. Thank you much.